How's it going, everybody? This is Forrest with AlphaGrad here, and I'm bringing to you a new segment that we're going to start to do. It's the midweek breakdown, and essentially in that, we're just touching base on a few different technology things that we find over the week. It can be from ranging from cybersecurity to various big sites like Facebook, Instagram, anything to that sort, as well as a various landscape. We're going to try to focus it a little bit more on North American and European-based technology, but we'll definitely be pushing through a lot more. For instance, cybersecurity. A lot of our biggest adversaries for bad actors are state-sponsored from North Korea, Russia, Iran. So we will be dealing with a lot of more geopolitical. This series is going to be a little bit more of a, I'd say, general overall arcing theme instead of getting into the nitty-gritty aspect of it. Um, and from there, we're basically just going to be saying, okay, you know what? How can we really capitalize this? So without any further ado, let's get to it. Okay. Uh, so the first one that we really want to talk about is that Walmart exclusive routers were caught with a hidden backdoor in order to control some devices. Now, to be honest, that title is meant to scare you. A lot of devices actually will come with a backdoor because a lot of manufacturers, vendors, software providers, whatever it may be, if they're doing patching or if they're having a way that they want to basically still have a route into those devices, they'll create it with a backdoor. This is why it's important for you to really lock down your network, be it at home or in the enterprise, so that way you can basically say, okay, you know what? I know exactly what's going to be coming into here, and I know what shouldn't be coming in here and what shouldn't be transmitting. So, for instance, if you saw something of a router on your network calling out to a remote host that you had no idea what it was, and just keeping that link of communication together, you might have a backdoor. Um, this isn't something, like I said, that's uncommon. This is a unfortunately very common software and hardware practice. A lot of people try to basically just bypass it by saying, well, it's there for the greater good. And that goes into the concept of, you're giving up your privacy for a little bit more of convenience. That's not really the point of this one. It's more specifically that, as we saw at Walmart in the US, and a few others like Amazon and eBay, were actually selling a lot of routers that had backdoors on it. So, more or less what that meant is just that you could actually have your home network hacked into, because a lot of this would be more or less common. So, if you don't know about the backdoor, then how are you going to lock it up? Unfortunately, a lot of attackers will know about the backdoor. So they can just use the common credentials, the common keys, authentication, everything to that sort, and just basically put it out there to the internet and say, hey, if you're listening on this port and your device type is this, go ahead and respond to me. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because then your entire home network can be compromised, and you could be part of, for instance, a botnet. A lot of these actually were found to be part of the Mirari botnet there. So basically using it in a large scale attack. So think of a distributed denial of service, to where you might not actually be participating in this. However, your machines are. And what that more or less means is that your machines were compromised through one way or another, be it, you may have opened up a phishing email that had a Trojan in it, or, for instance, this backdoor. And you are now being used as resource to attack someone. As well, Mirari is pretty common with camera devices, routers, and a little bit here and there with firewall and NAS. devices. So it's a bit of hit and miss, but primarily the routers that were caught from Walmart were the big ones there. Um, Essentially, these were the wavelength routers. So these are actually coming from Shenzhen, China, and essentially they sell products to China, Middle East, Hong Kong, Australia, Norway, just all over the world. So this really isn't just a U.S. centric one. However, we're the first ones that we're really seeing that are being popped on this. I wouldn't be surprised to see in the coming weeks that a lot more devices by Wavelength are compromised, but we'll be finding out. All right, on to the next topic there. So, shifting gears from everything of doom and gloom, Pinterest is actually getting more into the online setup. So, for those of you that don't know Pinterest, that's basically the website that your girlfriend, your mom, anyone that has a crafty side, more or less, or thinks that these are the dates that you need to be doing, is on. Um, Essentially, what Pinterest is doing, it's pairing up with a few different local teachers. So, for instance, in one of their examples, it was a latte art class. So they're doing that all online now to where you can start to really learn these various crafts and skills with a real-time teacher and a real-time mentor. So what that essentially means is that Pinterest is now pairing up and getting more involved into the Zoom space, um, which a lot of us know because of the remote work and the COVID situation that Zoom can have a lot of issues there. It's not like it's a Zoom centric. Skype can have the same issues. Discord can even have the same issues. Really anything that's online and transmitting can have those issues. But Zoom, unfortunately, on the free tier, whenever they started with this, it was a little bit of hit and miss, and they kind of dropped the ball whenever it came to encryption, which is just basically going over the same length of the internet there, except you're saying, okay, you can only see what's going on if you have the access code, which is the key pair. That's the only thing encryption versus non-encryption is. You're still going over the internet. It can still be picked up, and if someone really wants to get in there, more than likely they're going to be able to. But it's an awesome move to see that Pinterest is going ahead with that. They're starting to really pivot away from the idea of just being a image board and a stock based aspect to where you can save something and then say, okay, let me go to this one place in the community and say, hey, I saw this on Pinterest. Can you go ahead and put this on me? And the tattoo artist will just look at you and say, that's like a $7,000 tattoo and you want it for 500? Excuse me? That said, I think it's a really awesome thing that they're pairing up with it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what goes on with it. The last one I really want to cover here is Comcast. So everyone's favorite ISP. Yeah, don't argue with me. I know you all love it. So Comcast is actually changing around its model again. And this is something that will really only be affecting northeastern U.S. states. Most of their other customers already were affected by this. But they're going to be basically eliminating unlimited plans. So they're capping it at 1.2 terabyte of data in a month. So if you actually go over that, you are going to be paying $10 per 50 gigabytes of data more. This is primarily for the home customers, so I'd imagine a lot of people that are very extensive on their home network have multiple devices. Might be doing some mining or some basically a home business under the home internet instead of a business internet. These might be the areas that you're really dealing with. Normally, you won't really be getting into an area like this if you're just doing something simple like gaming. Even if you're on World of Warcraft raiding every single night or going into a battleground, you're not likely to be approaching this area. Um, that said, you basically it's kind of a little bit of a discerning sort of aspect with it for an ISP that tends to have a lot of a monopoly. No one else really has an option to choose from a different provider than Comcast half the time. So for them to be able to dictate and say, well, we're going to be taking away your unlimited plan, even though you're on the unlimited, uh, it's a little bit discerning. And I'm hoping that a lot of ISPs don't follow suit with it. Unfortunately, what we've been seeing is that Comcast does tend to kind of steer the boat whenever it comes to a lot of ISPs. Uh, so hopefully we'll be seeing some of them kind of resist it or take on their own adaptive model on it. But we'll be seeing. All right. So we'll be seeing, especially with the transition uh, into the new political sphere that's going to be coming in the early 2021, and we'll be seeing how their stances in terms of ISPs and what they may take on versus, for instance, the previous administrations. So there's a lot of things up in the air right now that we'll have to just be finding out. So that is all of the information, just as a very brief overview that we wanted to cover for this week. Like I said, this is going to be a weekly sort of thing, and all of the article links for what we just discussed are going to be in the show notes here. So go ahead and check them out. Do a little bit more research on your own. Knowledge is the number one thing. But I wanted to just really thank you guys for tuning in and have an awesome day and an enjoyable week.